Good morning. It's Wednesday. I'm just hiking up the ramp from the Mount Douglas parking lot drinking tap to Cordova Bay Road, when I will continue running but not recording. As you can hear, I'm approaching the road. I'm running two apps at the moment, comparing and contrasting the data. I've had verbal confirmation from both of my girls. What's it called now? My run lady has just told me I've done 15 minutes of running and about 2.5 kilometers. My other app is much more detailed. It's a paid app that I bought, that Derek bought for me a couple of years ago. And Gaia is called G-A-I-A. Right. So this is the first Wednesday after Halloween, and all the pumpkins are now lined up along the side of the road, along the wall, along the fence, on the benches. Everybody I was just listening to one of my ladies, 6.54 per kilometer. Yeah, they bring all the pumpkins up here so that Saanich, the corporation, can come along with their dump truck and pick them up all in one go, and then they get composted. So eventually they end up back on the land. I've turned onto Blenkinsop Road for a change. I've been running the Lochside Trail too much lately. I'm going to spend a little more time on the mountain today. But pretty soon I get to turn off Blenkinsop Road and get onto the Blenkinsop Trail. I heard a very good podcast yesterday from Norman, and a couple of good ones from Jim on Spreaker once again. I have a feeling that iTunes is going to do something nasty to us very soon. I'm not sure what, but probably involve payment. So Spreaker linked with Stitcher avoids the entire iTunes situation. We'll see. I'm quite happy with the service I'm getting and the listenership that I'm getting. I'm getting on average, I think it's 30 hits per show, and I'm putting out 2 to 3 a week. So that's quite good for me. And I'm sorry, Norman, I didn't mention you in the last show of mine. It's a long story to that. I started putting together the Sunday show on Thursday, and at the time I had quite a limited amount of material. So I put some large music breaks at the beginning of that show. And then by Sunday, I wanted to put together some more material that I had recorded on Sunday. So I was kind of stymied because I'd made space at the beginning of the show to edit out the music, and then at the end of the show I ended up with possibly 2 minutes of just me running. I did say something at the very end, but not until you'd heard me puff and pant for a couple of minutes. Could have been talking about the Rosenberg, Master Rosenberg. But I'm doing it now instead. I was caught red-handed yesterday listening to his show. He contacted me while I was listening and said, "You're listening, aren't you?" Yeah. So Blenkinsop Road. I'm now coming up to the crosswalk, which will lead me to Blenkinsop Trail. I know this has been an unusual amount of traffic noise for me, but I don't think a little bit of car noise is too distracting, especially if you're not trying to talk over it. So I have one of my apps going off every 5 minutes with pace and distance, and the other one going off every kilometer. That's another reason why sometimes I stop speaking in mid-sentence, because I'm listening to one of my girls. I'm also listening to my favorite Grateful Dead show, Shakedown Stream, from MVY.com, I think it is. Anyway, so Mount Douglas Park, here I am, at the gate of the Blenkinsop Trailhead. There are 1, 2, 3 SUVs parked here. So I'm guessing there are probably 3 groups of people with dogs that I will see as I climb the Blenkinsop Trail. My object is to reach the summit via the Blenkinsop Trail. That's another feature that the Gaia app, or the Gaia app, has, is you can plot waypoints. And I plotted a waypoint at the summit of Mount Doug. And then one of the other options is it says guide me. So if I looked at my phone, it would tell me which direction to go to get to the summit. Some woman coming down with her dog. Hello.
Hey. How's it going?
Hey?
How's that?
Going well.
Good. Have a good hike.
Yeah, I will. Thank you. Yeah, she was coming down. A lot of my friends are confused when they see me hiking. Halloween has gone, so I guess you could say it was goodbye-ing now. Halloween has gone, and Guy Fawkes is tomorrow. The English have 2 holidays now to celebrate and drink beer and make noise. One is the adopted Halloween holiday, and the other one is their ancestral early winter celebration of Guy Fawkes. Some people call it bonfire night. That is when the average English household would take out broken furniture, construction materials, yard waste, and leaves, and set fire to them all. It's like a winter clean out. There isn't much running on the Blenkinsop Trail. Managed to get 4 steps in there. So doing it this way means that I'm finishing off a 5.5 kilometer run with a 3 kilometer mountain hike. Obviously, I can be running on a lot of the downhills without risking life and limb. So I've been out for about 30 minutes now, and I'm halfway up the back of Mount Doug, the west side of Mount Doug, if anybody is following along. It's not quite live tracking, but one day when I have a data plan, you could probably actually see me completing this run. I'm going to check my stats in a minute. Hang on. I just put the recorder down on a mossy rock while I do this little bit of manipulation. It says I got just over half a kilometer to go as the crow flies to the summit of Mount Doug. I'll make the map a little bigger. Yep, that looks right. Good. And my other app, I won't bother checking because I know she's working, and Map My Run takes forever to realize that I don't have data. So I spend almost a minute waiting for it to tell me that it can't find a signal. I'm well aware of that. So Hopefully, as long as she keeps talking to me, she is still keeping track of my activity. It's kind of like the belt and braces approach to running. Yeah, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Guy Fawkes. He was the man who tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament. He was caught red-handed, so to speak, under the Houses of Parliament, where he had stashed 10 kegs of black powder. Anyway, I think he was arrested and executed. Not too sure about the last bit. I don't think they would have kept him as a prisoner. Probably would have just hung him or hanged him. Never sure which is correct. I know you can say I hung my coat. Can you say I hanged my coat? Yep, I think you probably can. English is such a rich and bountiful language, mainly because of its various linguistic roots. 6 kilometers, I've just been told. Yep. I'm pretty sure that one day I will be able to guesstimate all my running, but the neat thing about tracking with the GPS on my phone is that I can have maps to look at without having to sync to my computer. There's another couple with a dog. Hello. Good dog. Yeah, there's somebody else. This is halfway up, 2 more people. I know this woman. I know her from the rec center. Hello. I know you from the rec center.
Pardon?
I know you from the Gordon Head Rec Center.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen you for a while.
No, I'm always out here.
Running, are you doing for a marathon or something?
Well, not really. I stopped competing a while back.
You used to be with a young man at the rec center, weren't you?
Derek, yeah.
Does he still go?
He moved from my street,
Yeah.
well, just off my street. He moved to off Quadras now, so he doesn't come over to Gordon Head as
Oh.
much.
Yeah.
But we still cycle together.
Oh, that's good.
We go all the way along Lochside to
Yeah.
see the pigs.
Oh,
I
nice.
heard about the
That's
pigs.
fun.
People absolutely love going to see
Yeah,
the
well,
pigs.
it's a nice distance. It's about 13 kilometers.
Yeah.
I
So
used
there
to
and
do
back.
that when I biked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Used
it
to
was fun.
cycle
Did you
both
go
ways?
see the pigs?
Oh yes.
Yeah, well, there's 3 ones there, and we were quite concerned that one of them looked like it was ready for the chop. She looked too healthy and
Ah.
too full of it.
Well,
And there was
maybe
another
she's
one.
on somebody's dinner table now.
I don't know if she is yet, but there was another one that they'd taken away from the pen, because
Yeah.
normally they have about 3.
Mhm.
Well, the other one I thought, well, maybe she's already gone, but then I saw her in another pen,
Yeah.
and she was pregnant, so...
Oh, well, she'd be separated. She's
Of course.
pregnant, right?
That way they got the next generation sorted
Yeah.
out, and the other 2,
Bacon.
Well, we've never.
bacon.
Yeah, bacon. I've never. We're not supposed to eat bacon now. Remember, no smoke.
I don't think any of us eat enough of anything poisonous to worry about.
Probably not.
Probably not.
No.
I live right now behind Lochside Trail.
Whereabouts?
I live in Cordova Bay,
Oh, okay.
and I can walk like to Maddox. It's very close, and I keep
Yeah.
thinking, I
If you
must.
live on Maxine or Abbey Road, there's an Abbey up there, Maxine Drive.
I don't know the names, and I think sometimes I should walk to see if I can find the piece. But I hate walking on Lochside Drive.
It is kind
It's
of flat,
horrible.
isn't it?
Well, no, it's horrible because you're always looking behind you.
'Cause of
There's
the
cyclists and people,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
just.
I wish they would slow down a bit, you know, those cyclists, what are they trying to prove?
Nobody's going to slow down.
If they want to race, they could go and
cars.
race with the cars.
Yeah.
Why do they want
Well,
to
they
go
do
with
race with the cars through Mount Doug Park. I've had so many incidents that scares me with cyclists. Through
I
Mount Doug.
noticed on the corner of Mount Douglas, where it meets Blenkinsop, somebody last night had run into an arbutus tree. There was all this broken glass and bits of
Yeah.
car.
I don't quite understand this new
They missed
way of
that corner.
driving where they sit right on your back bumper. You know,
I
it's
gave up
just,
the driving a while
it's
ago.
just, I'm so anxious to move. I can't go any further, Guy. You know, there's a car in front of me.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
behind it.
you're a safe distance from the car in front, and he's
and
an
I
unsafe
live in a
distance
40-mile
behind you.
zone. Well, I think everyone in my complex has got a ticket, but everybody just drives like mad through there.
Yeah, I guess
Big
they all
truck.
leave it too late when they're going somewhere. They think, oh, it's a 10-minute
Well,
drive.
no, it's not
but
leaving
it's
it too
not
late. It's
that.
just our tone of our young people and how they live now. It's always
Rush.
rush.
Well, I retired
talk,
it
talk,
a
talk.
few years ago, and I stopped driving pretty much the same day as I retired. And
Yeah.
I ride my bike or I run, and that's the only way
Yeah,
I get
you're
about, or the
lucky you
bus.
can
Good
do
for you.
that.
Good for you.
Yeah, good.
Save yourself a lot of money. I just didn't like having to pay ICBC all the time, hundreds
Yeah,
and
well, it's
hundreds of
expensive.
dollars
It's expensive.
for
It's a
insurance.
luxury, but
It
the
is a
luxury
luxury.
I need.
Yeah.
I'm not riding bikes or running to go anyplace.
Well, that's it. My scope is quite wide because I run maybe 2 hours a
Yeah.
day,
Well, if
so I
we
can
live-
cover a fair bit of distance.
And it's so lovely in here.
Yeah.
I mean, this fall has been nice, and only 3 more months and the buds start coming out again.
Oh,
I
that'll
keep
be
telling
nice.
myself.
Listen, I've got to get going again. I'm
Okay.
heading up to the summit today,
Good
and then
for you.
I might actually go down by the road,
Well,
so I'll be home in about 15 minutes
have
from
a
there.
good run.
Bye-bye.
We walk as much as we
Yep.
can.
Yeah, I've known her for a while. Well, that's why I like having my recorder, because people are prepared to stop and talk. So this is Tombstone Rock, and I'm heading up. So I'm holding my pace quite well, 7:12. Obviously the auto pause kicked in when I had that 2-minute chat. This is the climb up the rocks to Little Mount Doug Summit, and I'll check my stats once again to show me how much I have to do to get to the summit. I know how to do it, but it's one thing to see the most direct route via the GPS, but that only gives you, as the crow flies, route. But you can choose, if you're not too familiar with the terrain, you can pick of your choices when you get to a Y junction, which trail will take you closer to your destination. Because going straight across Little Mount Doug to get to the summit of Big Mount Doug is something that I don't often do, but it's making me renegotiate with the mountain I'm not wearing my good shoes yet because I haven't bought them yet. Alright, so I've made the summit of Little Mount Doug, and I will check my stats. I see somebody coming down the South Ridge Trail, and I see a runner coming down the South Ridge Trail. Yeah, it tells me I can be at the summit in 27 minutes. I got 226 meters to go. But that would only be if I was a crow. So I will have to stick to the secondary and tertiary trails to get to the summit, which I can see from here. I'm on an adjoining mini summit. I am still heading in the right direction, so the numbers are counting down to the summit. But I can see how this app could be very useful if I was, say for instance, in Spain on a less familiar trail. I'll be able to retrace my steps much easier with this app. I can just put my start position and then head towards it. It's a bit like the old Magellan hiking GPS, you know, those heavy ones, the ones that were the size of an old flip phone, one of those bigger ones. Anyway, I've already slipped a couple of times on the wet rock on this side of Mount Doug. The other side was nice and dry, but this side is less dry, so I have to be a little more careful. I'll be running again very soon, as long as I'm not limping injured out of the park. I'll be okay. Alright, heading back towards Whitaker. I'll be interested to see the elevation stats on this one, because I know I've done about 150 meters of vertical, and then Big Mount Doug is 220 meters of vertical, but obviously I'm not going all the way down to sea level before I'm climbing back up again, so I'm probably dropping down 60 meters and then going back up. But that's what the app does, it calculates all the ups and all the downs. Alright, on Whitaker now, running again after quite a break. I am listening to music, but I'm reluctant to pull the earbuds out and play open air, so to speak, because I might decide not to include music on this one, and in which case I can edit it a little easier. So I'm on the downside of Mount Doug at the moment, heading towards the big climb to the summit. Yeah, Guy Fawkes is represented by an effigy, which the English call a guy. Maybe because they burn him, but I'm not sure whether Guy Fawkes was burnt at the stake. He could have been trying to kill all those politicians. Would have been considered treason, high treason, heresy. No, high treason probably. Yeah, there's a little bit of surface water today. Not too much. I don't think I'll get my slippery road shoes wet today. Not too much anyway. Tomorrow I think I might run out to see the pigs, because Derek has kind of dropped off the face of the earth. He no longer claims he no longer has any time for training. I think he's working every evening at Montana's. Okay, so pretty soon I have to turn up again to the summit. Yep, very soon I'll be hiking again. Until then I can run a little bit more. See, I don't hike when I'm tired. I hike to prevent my heart from racing too much. So this is the top of the Elephant Rock. This is where I double back on myself and head up, up, up. I shall record again when I get to the summit. It's going to take me right to the lookout crow's nest. Any second now I will see if I am alone or not at the summit. I forgot how steep it is. All right, just about at the top now. Up to about 200 meters above sea level for the second time today. Oh, there's still a little ways to go. I'll get a little bit more running in before I reach the top. And jump down and scamper up. I'm not sure if I've ever actually got onto Kathleen's trail the way I did today. I was just following the new app when it suggested that I should be bearing around to the right. So I did, and here I am. 4 minutes according to the app. At this pace it calculates how many minutes it'll take me to get there. When I get to the top, I will reset my waypoint for home base, and it should say 2 kilometers as the crow flies. Back to my house. Now, I could see the cement work of the observation platform. Looks as if I am on my own today. Oh no, there are a couple of people up there. Maybe it's the same women I saw earlier. Hello.
Hello. You're not breathing like I was. Did you drive down to the parking lot right here?
No, the gate's closed.
Oh,
The only way up here is walking.
yeah. So you did that, and you're not gasping like
Well,
I.
I came up the
You climbed up. You
I
didn't come
came up
the road.
the trail,
Trails.
Oh, yes.
but because I couldn't run, I didn't get out of breath.
Do you know?
On the lower trails, I would have been running, but when it gets too steep,
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
it's not wise.
Do you know which trail you were on, or you crisscrossed?
pardon?
Do you know which trail you were on, or did you crisscross?
I pretty much know them, most of them. Whitaker,
Whitaker's a big one, yeah.
yeah, and I did Glendenning at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
No, actually, I came up from Blenkinsop Trail.
So you came up round here.
Then I did Little Mount Doug Summit, and then I came up. There's Little Mount Doug Summit over there
Yeah.
with the arbutus tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw you guys. Well, I didn't see you guys, but I saw this lookout spot from down there.
You probably heard us long before you saw us.
Maybe.
No, he was plugged in.
In the wilderness.
No chance of the bears being surprised by you guys.
You're right there.
No.
It's always safe to make a lot of noise when you're in the bush.
Yes,
method in our
yes,
madness.
they're running like crazy in all directions.
All right.
And we're liable to run you over because you got your ears plugged.
Well, that's true. That's true. I'll see you guys later. I'll see you at the bottom.
Okay.
So they noticed I wasn't out of breath. I didn't tell them it was because I was podcasting that I wasn't out of breath. I gave them the other reason. The reason that I hadn't run for a good few minutes. So I'm going to go down the South Ridge Trail and then head out. So I'm going to go across to the third summit, which is the Antenna. I think I did the Antenna summit a few weeks ago. I won't take the road. I'm having too much fun on the trails. The road will get me back just a little too soon. So I start off heading towards Irvine, and then I start looking for the South Ridge Trail. I think you probably noticed that one of those women that I was speaking to had a very similar British accent to mine. She had probably been here for 40 years. Alright, I've already seen my first pointing to the South Ridge trail. So technically, I'm already on it. But there's quite a few trails that join together around this spot. They all funnel in to the South Ridge Trail. Had a pretty good run with Graham on Monday. I was going to record, but I figured not to bother. There's a couple of younger women. They're heading down the South Ridge Trail too. I'm really glad they opened this one up. It was a bit of a goat trail before, but once they put the signage in, people start to use the trail, and that opens it up for the rest of us. There's a couple of Chinese people sitting on a rock. Hello. There's a young man hiking up the South Ridge as I snake my way slalom style down the switchbacks towards the lower, more runnable trails. So I'm up to 8K already. 8 minutes, 8 seconds per kilometer. So that tells me that the Map My Run lady is still keeping track. The other woman, she just tells me in quite a deep androgynous voice the kilometer distance. No nonsense from her. Alright, very soon I'm going to be on the glory trails of the downside of Mount Doug. The broad, sweeping, bowling ball in a chute type trails. Eight kilometers. I think she already said that. They are quite close, the two girls. But one of them I have going off in the minutes, every 5 minutes. And that one I can rely on to be 5 minutes of run time. But the other one is just going off by the distance. So I guess once in a blue moon they will get pretty close to each other. Oh, this is nice, but still just a little too steep to let go of the brakes. You know how it is on a bike when you're on a hill. There's a time when you know you're safe to just let the brakes go. I'm not quite at that stage yet. I'm still having to hold back. What I'll do is I'll reset my waypoint for my home. Let me just put the recorder down. All right, let's go. This trail switches back and forth a couple of times, scrubbing off some altitude. But the other thing about this other app I'm using is that I can use the option so that it points me wherever the phone is pointing. It shows me where I should be heading. I get quite confused when I have north at the top. I'd rather know where I'm facing and then know where I'm heading from that display. It gives me a much better idea of how to get home. Yep, I've just about run parallel to the Power Lines Trail, as I call it. It's probably at Lower Whittaker at that stage. Yep. Almost slipped there. So the last little bit will be San Juan Avenue. You've heard me run that one many, many times. I'll just head over towards Harvest Lane, stay on the trails just a little bit longer. I told you I wanted to spend a little longer on the trails today. There's a loose dog taking a squat. Hello. Hi. Thank you.
Schedule a ferry.
This is where I turn off onto Harvest Lane. Having spent approximately 40 minutes in the glory zone today. So, goodbye from the Running Jackal, coming back to Earth in suburbia.